Hello, folks. Yesterday there was a conference in Mexico on the Buga Sphere. Now, you are not going to want to miss this. It's over 2 hours long. The full conference is going to be shared right after I stop speaking, which is now. Take a look at this, folks.
Level. Believe me that there are different interests, and this is not easy at all, but we're giving it our best shot as a society, as a human race. And this is the reason why I'm asking the support from different parts of society, different parts of science, so that we can understand this fully. So we're going to start by looking at the videos that make this discovery so important. I personally went to Colombia for these videos. If I wouldn't have met Jose Arias Restrepo personally, and if he wouldn't told me that he ran towards the sphere and picked it up, I would have never traveled to Colombia. When I realized this, it was obvious that there's an investigation pending there, a great opportunity. This is the video of the sphere that was filmed by Maria Bedoya, who went out to feed her cattle. Can we have sound on the video, please? We got sound on the video? That's the video that she filmed initially. At the distance, we can see the sphere floating through the air, and you can see a green reflection on the top part of the sphere. And this seems to be an important component, and it varies in different colors and tones. A little bit after that, the sphere touched the high-tension voltage cable, and it fell to the ground. This is the first video, which is extraordinary. And the second video that we have was originally filmed by Jose Arias Restrepo, a Colombian and a friend. We can see that this is a cross. I was there. And he was filming at a distance in the township of Buga. The question is, why was the sphere there? What's its objective? We don't know. Emanating feelings of tranquility, of peace. Did you ever think that you would be here in Mexico doing an internationally televised press conference? Never. I never imagined this. I'd like to thank you for being here with us. No, I'd like to thank all of you here. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for being courageous. What do you think of all the people that discredit this? Well, yes, there are certain people who say that they had it made and they send it to you by mail. I was just laughing. And that you bought it on Amazon and they send it via Federal Express. And that's the exact same sphere that I found. It's the same one that was filmed. It's beautiful, actually. I do feel proud. We feel proud for you as well. Thank you very much. I got my own microphone. Thank you. Just as a small parenthesis, for those who think that this type of discovery is authentic or not, and that there are Colombians that came to Mexico and that there's an official investigation going on at Mexico's Autonomous University, there is no monetary exchange between Jose Maussan Televisión to investigate this phenomenon. Our only objective is the truth. Is that right, Jose? You're absolutely right. What we're interested in is the investigation. Engineers like David said, well, we should transfer it to Maussan and they could do the necessary studies over there. Thank you. Thank you, Jose. No, thank you, Mr. Maussan. Let's move forward. The second video, I'd like to clarify the following. Even though it's been analyzed by 3 independent laboratories, there's no physical alteration. It wasn't done by CGI or artificial intelligence. We don't know who the author of this video is. We know that his synonym is Mario, who also lives in the same township of Buga. This is a different sphere that was filmed, and we need to authenticate it, which we haven't been able to do thus far. But if this video is authentic, it's of utmost importance because it was filmed on May 7th on the outskirts of Buga, in the opposite side of the town where the first Buga Sphere was filmed. Some people theorize that it was looking for the other sphere. That's what many people have expressed. We picked it up in a small van. 5 of us went over to pick it up, and we were all dressed in white, and we were covered in iron. Basically, they're anti-reflectory. They're for protection for electronics more than anything. You know that static damages electronic circuits, so we had protection to not contaminate the sphere with static, not contaminate the circuits. We picked up the sphere, and we were very careful because he told us that he felt nauseous, that he threw up, and many things that were being published, many rumors that were not true, and it became viral, and he wasn't able to operate his cell phone anymore. It wouldn't turn on anymore, and it's the first time that my cell phone doesn't turn on. So let's dedicate to the investigation of the sphere. I don't think that the implications of the sphere's presence are negative. I think the presence is here so that we wake up, so that we do the necessary tests, so we do the necessary investigations and take them to the necessary labs. I have a small electronic lab at Germany, and they discriminated our company, saying that it was a garage. And I'm not used to critics like ufologists are. It's a serious company, actually, and there are many fans of the UFO world here who are here to criticize as well. So there's 2 avenues. So I transported the sphere to my company, to Germany, and we did electronic tests on it, impedance, magnetic fields, type of static, and it did emanate a frequency, 120 of Yumbo. There's high visibility of unidentified aerial phenomenon, but this is not globally known. I told Jaime that I live close to the township of Yumbo. I have a ranch, and there's hills behind my house, and that's the reason I was able to film it. One of my friends told me that he always wanted to see a UFO, and he was frozen when he watched it. My colleagues are contractors. They could lose their jobs altogether if they're made public. That's the site where the sighting was made. I was a little bit preoccupied, and I tried to look for it. I tried to reach Jaime a month earlier, and I realized that it was Germany. I Googled it. So I sent him a WhatsApp message telling him that I wanted to make this video public, but that the only condition is that it reach Jaime Maussan, because we also wanted it to be analyzed by scientists from Mexico's Autonomous University. So I called David Velez up. David called Jaime up. We shared the video. We waited a few days because we also sent it to Italian researchers who analyzed it with precise results regarding the image, which was not made artificially. They analyzed the cables, and I didn't want to show myself on camera, but since my name wasn't going to be made public, then I said, go ahead. But it was only after a while that I obtained the courage to say my name in public. It's incredible. Having this sphere in your hands is absolutely incredible. Right, Jaime? You're a contractor, correct? Yes, I'm a contractor of several companies. You got nothing to do with the phenomenon? Absolutely not. I don't even have social media at all. I don't have a Twitter account or anything. Were you bothered when they told you it was not authentic? Yes, of course. I admire Engineer Garrido a lot. It's one of the most respected universities throughout Latin America, and people are still talking. Did you know David previously? Did you know Jose previously? No, I didn't know either of them. I know them thanks to you, basically. I tried to contact you, but that was impossible, and I Googled up the Germany and Buga. And that's when I sent him a message, and he answered 20 minutes later. The Colombian people know that you're the author? No, they don't know it till right now, till this very instant. I'm a discreet person. I didn't even tell my wife about it. Someone said, don't tell anyone till it's official, till we have the Italian investigation. Even if I told my wife, she wouldn't believe it anyhow. And I did previous trips to Mexico, and now she's opening her mind, finally. She didn't believe you at first? Well, she's starting to believe, okay. And what I tell Jaime and his team, I was surprised to meet a large team who is fully prepared here. I have an old device, an old mobile device, and I gave it to Giorgio, who did the investigation, and they're also downloading everything that is there, all the metadata. But you think the video is authentic? 100%. And you think that one is the best measured the electrical field, and the result was 0 volts per meter. We also measured the influx, the magnetic influx, and the result of measuring magnetic influx was 0.0 microteslas. That means that there is no electromagnetic energy that is being emanated from this sphere. We also did a preliminary analysis on the physical traits because it's necessary to evaluate how it looks if we want to understand how it was made. So we look at it physically, and we found the following. There's a severe porosity in the northern hemisphere, and there's a regular porosity in the southern hemisphere. But we also realize that there's a line, or a possible division line, between both hemispheres, which is located at the equator, and it's not completely parallel, it's not at the center of the sphere. This led us to the following conclusions. As it corresponds to the physical traits when you drain it with sand, because of that level of porosity that we mentioned previously, we consider that that's the process by which it was made. We realized that in the equator, there are certain points, and they're not made of metal specifically, where we suggested to stop that study right there, and we observed that this was highly relevant because these small dots have a small polymer which is integrated, which has already been confirmed. A lot of the symbols and the writings that you see on the sphere correspond to something that was done by hand. Somebody did it by hand first in order to make the designs that are on the sphere. We still have to study this part even further. In conclusion, we realize that it's not a technology that was expected. Maybe it was done with CNC, or perhaps it was made with some other type of machinery. No, negative. It's done through a simple process, which is also complex at the same time, due to its chemical composition more than ever. I'm going to go into details further down the line. This is what I was mentioning to you previously. What we already saw and talked about. And the chemical composition is of utmost importance, because we have a silicate presence. There are high levels of silicates, and the traits that it reflects is that of something that's been through a foundry, where the fusion temperature decreases on one hand, and the fluidity magnetic field, and that magnetism caused an uproar. At the lab, we still can't fathom the results. Certain inconsistencies that were made after the magnetic tests were done with certain magnets of 6,000 Gauss, there was significant variations. That is to say, from 333 HB that we originally had, we went to 58 HB. We're also seeing another inconsistency here, which is temperature. There comes a point when it loses stability. The sphere loses stability, and the temperature starts going up instantly from 24 up to 33 degrees centigrade. And we did certain tests, and those inconsistencies led us to think that there's something strange. There's parts where the sphere is stable, like we see it right now. We also measured the temperature of the surroundings, and through the pyrometer, we saw that it was very close to the measurement of that monitor, close to the same results. So there's an instability. It's not that stable in terms of temperature. In this video is exactly when we're talking about these inconsistencies regarding the hardness level. Do we have audio? It varies in its hardness. It's the different inconsistencies in the hardness. Here we have a measurement of 62, and here we have 64. Can you try this other side too, please? When we did the measurements, we have 791, 793, 783. There's a variation of plus minus 3%. But it's within the range, the acceptable range. Now we're doing the magnetic test. There was a high level of hardness, an extreme hardness. Then we did the analysis on iron, and after we approximated the magnets, it came back to its original hardness of 6080 Brenners. Yes, that's the inconsistency that we had regarding measurement of the hardness levels. And this happened throughout how many minutes? Throughout 5 to 10 minutes is how long the test lasted. And the hardness level never became that extreme. That's correct. We have to do further studies regarding this topic because it could have been two different situations. One was that maybe what's in the inside of the sphere has been interfering with our electronic equipment because it's hard to imagine, hard to understand that through a magnet the sphere would change its physical properties. So there's two paths that we have to follow there. So its weight increased, and in this case, after you approximated the magnets, the hardness level decreased, which means that what's on the inside of the sphere is directly interfering with the structure of the sphere, which makes it almost alive. We have to verify all this step by step. Within the sphere, apparently there's specific materials of different densities. For example, we ran tests on densities, and we have 0.84 grams per cubic centimeter. And if we use the reference of the density of aluminum, we know it's 2.7 grams per cubic centimeter. This leads us to believe that if this sphere was made strictly from an aluminum, it should weigh approximately 32 point some kilograms. What really helped us, Jaime, is the studies that you had done, the X-ray studies and the scanning via tomography, because we detected 3 different elements with different densities. During the microphotographic study that we create static, and we assume that it will levitate. When we talk about the chip, it looks like an antenna. We're trying to detect where the resonance comes from. If we manage that, then we're going to understand this perfectly, what its impedance is. And once we know what its impedance is, we'll be able to know what its ROE is. And then if we don't do it, then we're going to remain uncertain. Those are very important aspects. One is to try and make it levitate. What would happen? That would be success altogether. We proved our theory right, and then we have to bring it back down, right? Could they take it away? Yeah, they can take it. We can't control it. We can't stop it. But if it's confined, then we could. And the other is to use the same system that you use for transmitting and receiving signals to be able to communicate with them. Yes, and point number 4, which I didn't talk about, if it's on or not, maybe it's on autopilot. If it's on autopilot, it'll never go on. And how do we know this? When we run the necessary tests. Don't worry, we'll figure a way of turning it back on. Thank you. Imagine that. Do you think it's possible? This is the reason why we need all of your support to be able to do a multidisciplinary study that is good for humanity. Here is Dr. Stephen Greer, who's been writing and talking about clean energies for many decades. And one of his greatest motivations is in three different stages. One is witness testimony, one is video, and one is physical evidence. We have physical evidence, which is being analyzed through scientists. We have video as well, and our job is to analyze those images. And we have the first witness accounts who are concerned about becoming public, about saying their names out loud on TV. So ufology has not evolved over the past 80 years. Everybody has the same limiting factors. What Jaime Maussan did is open a channel on TV to be able to transmit the truth, a complete investigation of the research, and there's still a lot more that needs to be done. You think it ends with the videos? No, it's just the beginning. When we introduce this to the world, it's the first time private citizens present the physical evidence for them to reach their own conclusions if we're alone in this universe or not. Maussan managed that. Maussan managed to gather the most serious scientists around the world in this press conference, and we hope that our American colleagues will also give seriousness to this phenomenon. We have videos, testimony, and all I can say is chaos, insecurities, threats, and Americans know this altogether. There are certain stigmas regarding the phenomenon. If I see it, if I filmed it, if I'm a first witness, we have high-quality video, and what they do is present it publicly. We think that may be very little, but it's not. And on top of that, new videos show up, new witnesses show up, new sightings appear. We have to study and analyze this through due forms. We have many different videos, and we're going to stick by scientific results. We have to take samples, we have to analyze the videos, and we have the eyewitnesses. It's an awesome video. People who did not want us to say their names, why? They're concerned that they would be burned by society, but they decided to give their names in the end. And the first thing we need to do is see what the most rational explanation is. We have to separate all different possibilities. Italian researchers did the necessary tests on the video, and they realized it's not done by CGI, it wasn't done by artificial intelligence. That's good, but that doesn't mean that there are different forms of creating a reconstruction, right, that would assimilate this phenomenon. So I'm trying to explore all different aspects. When we talk about artificial intelligence, we know that's not it. We already analyzed the image, and then we made a model of the drone, which we hung by a string. It means that it can support a limited charge. This sphere weighs 10 kilograms. Initially, it weighed 2 kilograms. So what we did is hang it on a string and see if it could be recreated as well. And we have research studies that says that the increase in weight is perplexing. When we talk about the Brinell scale, it was talking about 330, which is twice as much as the aluminum oil that is used commercially by NASA. It increased in weight. With this explanation, maybe we can prove to the world that, visually speaking, we can see something that looks like it. But look at its movement while it's hung on a string. It doesn't act anyway like the original video. And if it weighs 10 kilos, it couldn't be lifted on a string by a drone. We know that it flies through the air. Airplanes fly through the air, drones fly through the fly, and Superman flies through the air as well, but this doesn't necessarily mean it's the same. What we are observing here is that it's going to crash against a branch, and since it's a pendulum, we know that it's going to start swinging back and forth. And what William says, what William proves, his testimony proves, that there's a similar sphere that also touched the branches. It touched the leaves. So it touched the leaves, and the movement is linear altogether. There's no alteration, like with the pendulum. We have testimony and we have the video. With the video that Jose filmed, we see the different angles where there's nothing in the vicinity. I used a 20-meter cable to hang it. We could also use a 200-meter cable as well. But movement is movement. If you have a drone with a string that's supporting the sphere, it's going to move differently, because we don't want to pay attention to the first-hand accounts. This is why William's account and Jose's videos are not done with a pendulum. Maybe we did a recreation, but I'm sticking to the tangible proof, to the tangible tests. I don't want to prove anything. I want to demonstrate the following. It originally weighed 2, then it weighed 6, and then it weighed 9 kilograms. There's different explanations, but not all of them are true. So, in conclusion, I'm sticking to scientific studies, to first-hand accounts, to eyewitness accounts, and to the physical evidence. And if there are people trying to discredit this, let's just focus on the data. It's important to focus on this phenomenon, but we've never taken this phenomenon seriously. Everybody's giving their own opinion. And when we involve serious institutions, academia, scientists, they don't want to participate. Governments don't say a word. And now that we have the leverage, we need to work on this investigative path. So what's your conclusion? Were these videos made with a drone and a string? Based on William's account and based on William's description, it was not faked with a drone or a string. And the Buga Sphere, that's Don Jose's video, it wasn't made with CGI or artificial intelligence, because we see different planes where there's nothing around. Now, there's different videos that will come up, but these are definitely not hoaxes. These people are giving their faces on national camera. They're risking their reputation. Let's confront this with courage. What's your conclusion? I think it's the most complete case that we have of anomalous phenomena. We have all three. We have the video, we have eyewitness testimony, and we have the physical evidence. With a purpose and with ethics, we can do a serious investigation which would lead us to many good conclusions. This is unprecedented in history. It divided the UFO community in two. It's the first time that private citizens have one of these objects in their possession, obtaining private research studies from different schools. Do we have convincing evidence that this demonstrates that it's a hoax? No, we have no evidence demonstrating that this was a hoax. We have the witnesses, we have the scientists, we have the researchers here. And who are the people that are here, courageously appearing? Thanks to your effort, Jaime, we have now marked a before and an after thanks to this investigation. Thank you, Nacho. No, thank you, Jaime. Thank you, Nacho. And thanks to all of the scientists and investigators that are participating in the right thing to do, doing the correct analysis, the correct research, the correct test, because we have to do what's right. We need to know what this technology implicates. And one day we will reach the conclusion if it's non-human technology or not. Let's welcome Jaime Maussan for the conclusion of this press conference. The only thing I can say is that you've been first-hand witnesses in a historic event. Never before has something similar happened in all of history, in ufology. So take that home with you, think about it for a while, and feel proud that you're part of this event, which is so extraordinary, historically speaking. Before concluding, I would like to thank Alejandro Belmont, who's a close friend, who gave us this screen. It's a flexible screen, as he did. Thank you, Alejandro. And I would also like to thank these efforts to Guillermo Figueroa. Guillermo Figueroa was a producer that worked for Jaime Maussan for many decades. He passed away yesterday. We lost Guillermo yesterday. Thank you. In the name of Guillermo, I'd like to say thank you on his behalf. It's a shame that he didn't witness this event. He lived in Miami. He had cancer, and he would have been here with us, being here present. Thank you, Guillermo. Let's move on to our question and answer session. Álvaro, this is Álvaro Cueva asking the question. He would like to ask Jaime Maussan the following. What's happening in the media regarding this? When are we going to see you on mainstream news? What happened with the main broadcast? What happened with the national media outlets? I can't believe they're not paying any attention to this. You're absolutely right, and we're about to change that paradigm. I hope that Chema opens her doors so that we can start talking about this. I hope that scientists in Mexico are interested and that this stops being a joke, that this stops being a story that was made up. It's a reality, and they're serious investigators. We have a congressman, Ehrlich Burleson, who is present here, a scientist like Stephen Greer, and Dr. Daniel Sheehan, one of the best lawyers, constitutional lawyers throughout the world, is here with us as well. I would like to make the following comment of what you've seen. What are your impressions, please, of what you have witnessed here today? Please.
I'm here because
this is Congressman Eric Burleson.
To not just the United States, but to the world. And this effort, we've been blocked in Congress. We've been blocked from receiving the briefings that we need. And so I think that it's long overdue. Look, it's not any government's right to protect any knowledge about extraterrestrial or non-human intelligence if it exists. And so we have too many people in reporting things. We have too many videos coming out to ignore it. I think I have a responsibility on oversight to investigate it and do my due diligence, and that's why I'm here. And so thank you for hosting this, and I'm looking forward to seeing further scientific discovery.
Any comment about the Buga Sphere?
it's a remarkable, it's very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what the studies come. Thank you very much.
Congressman Eric Burleson giving his impressions.
I'm just going to make a really quick translation, please. Sorry, I'm just going to make a really quick translation to what you said. Como dijo el congresista Eric Burleson,
As Congressman Eric Burleson said, the reason he's here is because this is a worldwide event. It's not only interesting to the U.S. government, he's been blocked by his government to obtain the necessary hearings and the necessary data to open this topic to the world. And now he's anxiously waiting for the results on the Buga Sphere and know how much we can learn from this technology. Thank you, Congressman Eric Burleson, for being here with us today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaime, for having us here. And his work has been seminal for many years. And going to go up. So, very interesting new testimony. It was very surprising to us, and I wanted to share that with you. And so we're going to continue these investigations, but I think this is a very significant object, and the other gentleman was correct. We have 700 plus whistleblowers and people in the United States now coming forward. We have a lot of evidence. We do have some physical evidence. That wasn't correct. But something like this we have never had, because usually these get confiscated by thugs, criminals. And so good for you. You've done great work, all of you. I'm very proud to be here with you. Thank you very much.
As Dr. Stephen Greer mentioned, he congratulates the team and for the courage that we are all showing, because people are discredited altogether. Some of the artifacts have been confiscated, and something that he mentioned is very interesting. He did a recent interview with a Green Beret, which shared in a subterranean base, that he got to see certain non-human artifacts. Some of the symbols that were projected by that artifact coincide with the symbology on this sphere. According to Dr. Stephen Greer, they have to do with genetic activation of awareness and consciousness. And that's news to us. Thank you, Dr. Greer.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan Sheehan. I am an attorney in the United States. I was one of the co-founders at Harvard Law School of the Civil Rights Law Review. We have been dedicated ever since then, in 1968, to trying to protect the rights of the people against a national security state in the United States that has been capturing all of the information, have been capturing the witnesses, have been capturing the technologies, and trying to conceal them from the people. I was fortunate enough when President Carter was elected to be invited to participate in the original investigation that President Carter launched to...
What's up? I have two important questions for the engineers, David and Rodolfo. Did you do any comparative studies regarding weight, temperature, and densities of the different metals, different alloys? I want to know if you made these tests simultaneously. If the temperature went up, the density went down, right? This is a direct question to them. And my second question is for the investigators, for Dr. Stephen Greer. What's the path to follow regarding the following research? If it's only going to be made in Mexico, or are we going to share it with the U.S.?
Dr. Greer, please, if you could take us into research
Sphere of Buga is going to take place here in Mexico City or in the United States, or it's going to be half and half, 50-50. I don't know. That's all. Those are my questions. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Muy bien. Respondiendo a tu primera
Answering
pregunta,
your first question,
te comento que no se tienen variaciones.
there are no variations regarding the results obtained in density tests.
Ahí nosotros nos basamos
We're basing ourselves on a 3D scanning to be able to figure out the mass, the volume, and with its weight, we were able to determine the density. It's the density of the sphere in its entirety. Internally speaking, we detected certain components that lead us to think that there are three different types of densities that cannot be tested directly because we would have to isolate them. Worth mentioning that when we ran the hardness tests, the university realized that it was divided in three parts, the southern, northern hemisphere, and the equator, but they did not find any soldering between them. It's not soldered. So the only answer is that probably that sphere was soldered from the inside out. But that's an important industrial process, because if you look at the sphere up close, it's almost impenetrable. But they must have done something. Let's move on to the second question regarding the measurement of temperature levels. I can assure you that there's no specific pattern that will tell us how often the temperature is going to go up or down. That pattern is unpredicted. It's unpredictable, as we saw in the videos. Sometimes the sphere is stable, and what I can assure you is that we also done a second test, which is called on emittivity, which has to do with luminousness. We determined that temperature due to that difference, and we did it in a test which gave us 1.8 degrees Celsius. We also measured the transference in heat from the outside into the sphere, which gave us 0.12 centigrades. This means that we can account for 2 centigrades, but we cannot account for the other 6 degrees centigrade. And the other comment that engineer Rodolfo Garrido did, based on what I have observed personally, based on the tomography and the X-ray scans, and above all knowing that it includes polymer, which is decomposed at a temperature of 76 degrees Celsius. It begins to lose weight and it starts to decompose altogether, the polymer. Let's assume that we didn't detect any determining alloy on the inside that could generate lower temperatures than those 76 degrees Celsius. This is just a theory. I'm theorizing this because we have not been able to prove that both of the hemispheres were joined by structural adhesives. You can stick plastic with plastic, you can join plastic with metal, and you can join metal with metal. And that's the most logical conclusion, but we haven't been able to prove it yet until we have structural adhesives joining those internal parts, the northern and southern hemispheres.
So in answer to your question, our team here is to confirm the research doing, to consult about further tests, and to do whatever we can do here. I think for the reason of OPSEC or operational security, it should be in Mexico and not in the United States, frankly, because I operate in the United States and it's very difficult. It's the epicenter, the global security state keeping this secret. Not that there aren't components here, but there it is a problem. So much so that members of Congress are routinely denied information. So I think that the other point is the scientific studies, what we want to do would include looking at certain isotopes that would determine if those metals appeared and were originated off-planet or on-planet. It's very difficult to do, it's expensive, but that's what we're going to try to do. We want to try to carbon date it from the polymer if we can get enough. We want to be able to also advise on certain physics tests that can be done. And the gentleman mentioned spinning it and what have you. We have some ideas about that. One thing as to remember, an extraterrestrial device is very different from a manufactured human 21st century. And here's how. They're usually of one part. The components are all seem to be melded together and appear as one, whereas a man-made object is this part, this part, this part. So there are man-made UFOs that are known as alien reproduction vehicles. We have a lot of them. We started making them. My uncle was Northrop Grumman. Lockheed has them, Raytheon. Those are parts and pieces, and they look like a manufactured object. The extraterrestrial vehicles are seamless. They tend to be similar to this. This has some differentiation, and they tend to have the functional components integrated as if it came out of a singular mold. Now, the manufacturing that's extraterrestrial involves a type of what's called trans-dimensional physics, where you set up an energy field and it aggregates the materials together and forms it as a whole, as opposed to us digging something up and welding it together in a machine shop. So we know the difference between extraterrestrial, say, manufacturing and 21st century human manufacturing. Now the question is, there have been extraterrestrial involvement with this planet for probably millions of years, certainly for millennia, and is this object from a prior extraterrestrial involvement, or even an ancient civilization that lived here that was perhaps even human or part human that made these? This is why we want to be able to date it. If it's 5,000 years old or 2,000 years old, that's a huge bit of data, because at that point you realize, well, it can't be anything made recently, and therefore how was it made? Because aluminum has I think needs 10,000 degrees to smelt it. We didn't have aluminum till pretty recently, and other components. The other question is looking for various elements that may not be even in our periodic table. So in other words, it could have elements in it, but this is a very, very esoteric level of astro science and physics, where you'd have to employ very specific labs, and the labs receiving it will not know it came from this. So what we're going to do is more like a double-blind situation. The testing laboratories will have no idea the origin of it. But no, the device, I think, should remain here in secure hands. At some point, we do want to figure out the physics of it, because one of my objectives why I left my medical career was when I realized they were keeping this cabal of fascists and sociopaths have been hiding from us, the people, the means to have free energy, no pollution, no poverty within 20 years. And look at the world that we have now, on the brink of nuclear war. It's ridiculous. So I think we can do better as a people, and that's what we hope to do. So this could be the answer. Could be, yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. Bueno, muy resumido de lo que comentó el
In summary,
Dr. Stephen
what
Greer,
Dr. Stephen Greer just said,
sí van a haber investigaciones
yes, the research will continue.
en México, la esfera,
There will be
tiene que
research
permanecer
done
en
in the
México.
United States, but the sphere has to remain in
Si
Mexico.
lo mencionan en la ciencia, ¿no? Para que no sepan cuál es el origen verdadero. Y también análisis,
And
por
then
ejemplo,
specific
de
analysis of
para determinar
carbon-14 to determine how old it is, to determine if it was manufactured millennia ago or if it was recently manufactured.
Lo digo muy en resumido todo lo que comentó el
This is
doctor.
in summary of what Dr. Greer said. Let's move forward with the next questions, please. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. This question is for Mr. Maussan. Historically speaking, we know that the United States, that the government, the U.S. government, never leaves any loose ends. We have the Coyame case and we have the Roswell case, 1947. What's the main objective when we're in a historical event where the U.S. government hasn't intervened and hasn't spoken up? Let me repeat it, please. Good afternoon, Mr. Maussan. Historically speaking, we know that the U.S. doesn't leave any loose ends. Roswell, 1947, and the Coyame case here in Mexico. There's immediate intervention. What's the main objective why we have a historical event happening right now? The United States hasn't taken credit for it and hasn't intervened. This didn't happen within the United States. One of the most important things that we did is make it public.
Es guardada, al rato se va a una caja de seguridad bancaria que tenemos aquí, especial.
It's absolutely important to take good care of the sphere.
Podrían llevarse esto es que llegue un comando y nos mate a todos, y ahí sí se la llevan. Pero, y aún así va a ser difícil porque tendrían que abrir la caja. Y por tanto, yo creo que más que nada es que esto se ha hecho público. Y es muy difícil bajo esas bases el poder hacer algo. Y pues lo otro es de que de alguna forma pues considero que hemos venido realizando la investigación científica que le ha dado ya la validez a esto, y también creo que aquellos que están en contra de que esto sea considerado verdad confían en que toda esta campaña que se ha dado a nivel mundial de simplemente decir es un fraude, es un fraude, es un fraude, va a permear en la mente de las personas y finalmente lo van a querer considerar así. Afortunadamente no está sucediendo, y eventos como este que está ahora ocurriendo aquí le están dando la validez. La presencia de nuestros invitados también se la da. La presencia de ustedes, medios de comunicación nacionales e internacionales, también le da una gran validez. Creo yo que en este momento ya está fuera de las manos de aquellos que quisieran que esto no trascendiera. Ya trascendió. Y ojalá y que ustedes, amigos de los medios, nos ayuden a que trascienda aún más. No se pregunten si esto es cierto o no lo es. Esto es verdad. Y están ustedes ante un evento histórico. Si ustedes como periodistas
This is a historical event. This is absolutely authentic. This is a good for society. Unfortunately, there are certain media outlets that will discredit, and certain media outlets that should not even get involved with this. We're getting close to scientific institutions that originally didn't want to get involved with this. But with the support of the people that are here present, we're going to achieve our results of making the truth known to the citizens of the world. Never before had something like this happened. This is very important. Thank you. I would also like to add, you're absolutely right. Last question. Just one last observation, if you don't mind. We're living in different times now. Social media has accelerated everything. Automatically, now what people do is discredit the person, the case, the videos. So it's disinformation. It's a fact that they're using disinformation tactics from the ground up. And that's why they die. These types of cases disappear altogether. But through scientists that are courageous, through researchers who've shown courage, we can obtain these types of data and transmit it to the people. There are certain media outlets that is controlled and they don't want the truth to get out. That's why we now have our own television channel. No one can tell us to be quiet. Any last questions? I'm so excited. I'm excited as a Mexican. I feel proud because we are uniting the world. It's the first time I see that science unites the world. We have serious scientists from different countries here today, supported by Rodolfo Garrido, supported by Jaime Maussan, by important Congress people, by important researchers from the United States. And this is what we want, a multidisciplinary program that can support this type of investigation that will transcend. We're producing a special program where we're going to be focusing on innovative technology. Well, we have a show called Tercer Milenio. Then we have a new show that's called 24/7. We have a morning magazine as well. And we're going to keep the public updated. I reiterate, we now have an open television channel which will allow us to communicate the truth about these types of phenomena, something that was not previously possible. For example, I would like to thank all of the major television studios like Televisión Azteca, Televisa, and I hope they can transmit this message. De la Universidad Metropolitana. This is
about the design and the glyphs on it. David, you mentioned that they were hand-drawn potentially with tools. Is there any more information on how that was done and also the significance of the glyphs in the design? You can also take it.
Que si hay más información de cómo fueron fabricados estos signos, estos símbolos.
Que si fueron hechos a mano.
Sí. Y el diseño y la forma.
Estos símbolos, como
these symbols, as I mentioned previously, they were first drawn onto the sphere, and then we started etching into them, which obviously gives it a different level. And then we polish them. They polished them. They were made manually. They were handwritten. And this takes us to any given possibility. Well, highly advanced civilizations that have this type of technology, on the other hand, are returning to basic steps. They're going back to the drawing board and moving forward with technology that is not damaging to the earth or damaging to the environment. We have to determine how old it is. We have to figure out if it's recent or it's been around for many years. And this is through testing. If it was recently manufactured, that means that these types of civilizations have evolved to the stage that they're returning to basic steps without leaving behind technology. It's highly innovative, but it's basic at the same time. We'll reach the truth with the help of all of you. Thank you very much. I hope that you found this press conference interesting. I have one more thing to add. We are impressed by the simplicity In physics, he keeps repeating this over and over. I can't believe this. I can't believe how simplistic this sphere is, physically speaking. Who knows their material will explain it properly. Maussan, I'm the representative from Colombia, and there's many people who are asking me if Colombia could have the opportunity of analyzing the sphere in Colombian territory. Of course, yes. It descended in Colombia, and I think eventually it'll go back to Colombia. But the first thing we need to do is finish with all the investigations. We don't know how long that will take, but there will be the possibility for the sphere to return to Colombia. Thank you very much. We're going to take the official photograph, and then you're welcome to take photographs if you wish. So if you want, please come up to the stage. We're going to take a group photograph right now. Please come up to the stage.
Difícil que se lo sí, si quieres.